Hi everyone, this is Tracy from WeCraft at Home. Thank you for joining me. So as you saw in the previous pictures, I'm going to show you how to do the double spin rotating card. This is basically it. The difficult part is this one. So let's get the easy one out of the way first. So let me just put all that to the side. So first of all, we're going to need a card base and a circle and a rectangle. So let's get the circle and the rectangle over here. The original card base, I want to do it 7 by 7. I've seen most people do 6 by 6, but we're going to do it 7 by 7. So we're going to need 2 of them. So we'll layer duplicate. Now normally with these cards we could just put score line across the top and stick them together. We're not going to be able to do that with this because of the inner workings. So I always like this one here. It's a very good one to use as a tab. Now we know that we need the width to be 7. I'm just going to sit it on top roughly, grab them together and make sure that they're aligned through the centre. Once we've done that, we do not need it this big. So just grab that. And we're going to bring it down to around 3/4 of an inch. So the height you want at 75. And then, actually what we do, I'll just get in close and make sure that the lines are overlapping. Probably a little bit too much. So I can bring that up a little bit. So just using my arrow keys. There we go. Now, if we grab them both and weld, and then we're going to come out a little bit more. So what we're going to do is get the path tool and we're just going to put our score line in. So you click, hold shift. Actually you probably don't even have to hold shift for this one because it's going to go automatically into the corner. Third line down for your score line. And then grab them both. Control G on your keypad, or layer group. Okay, let's go back out. That's all we have to do to that one. This one is the one that needs all the work. So what we're going to do first is the inner layer. So that's the offset, and we want to go inward, but we want it beveled because there's sharp lines. I think we'll keep it at 12. So that's both our layers that we're going to need because we need to cut through them all. So then we're going to look at our circle, and we need 3 circles here. So the first one, we want that at 5 inches. If you're doing a 6 or an 8, you need to change the sizes accordingly. Okay, so layer duplicate, and that one is going to be 4.5. And then we're going to duplicate one more time. And this one is going to be 3. They're the 3 circles we need. So we're going to put this one to the side for a second. And we want these 2. Now we're going to grab all these 4 and just centralize and through the middle so everything is completely centered, and send that to the back. And then what we're going to do is grab these 2 circles here and subtract, just so that we're working with one. It makes no difference to the cut, it's just so that it's easier to work with. And we want 2 of them, so layer duplicate, put that one to the side, click on the inner layer. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, just so that it's easier for you to see. I'm going to colour it like I've done here. So, that's that. And the circle, we will do lilac, just so that you can see the difference. And what we're going to do here, we've got the circle, hold shift and grab the square as well, and we want to subtract. We actually want to subtract all of it, but it's okay. We'll subtract. So you can see what I should have done is coloured that one behind as well. You can see the circle is back and forth there. So we're just going to do it again. We're going to grab that and that, make sure we've got it in the right place, and subtract again. Now it's gone through. And if we do that, you can see the two different sizes. That one is meant to be at the back. You don't have to do all this sending to the back. This is just me so that I can show you. We'll grab them both and make sure they go through. This one is the other card layer to this. So let's change it to white so you know it's a card layer. We don't necessarily need this inner bit on this one. You need them on these, but not on this one. But we do need a white circle. So what I'm going to do is just central that and weld it. And that's it. So that is its own cutting out. And it will make sense when we do it. On these we need the little circles as well as the big ones. And we need 2 of them and then 1 of just the mat without the circles cut out. If you've already cut them out like I just did, then if you layer duplicate and just put something over the top, doesn't matter what, but yeah, that's what I was going to say. You do have to make sure that it's over the top. So I'm going to get that out of the way. So I've just put that rectangle, it's now over the top. We've got one like that already. If we grab them both and weld, we've now got, so we need 1 of them, but we need 2 like that. And then we need 1 of them and 1 of them. And that is the card, mats and base and everything. So like I said, it's fairly simple, fairly straightforward. Now we need okay, so now what we're doing is the mechanism. I've actually had to write it down so that I don't tell you the wrong sizes. So for the main mechanism, this first one, you want to do it to 5 on the height, which you can, if you untick maintain aspect ratio, you can do it that way, and 1.5 inches on the width, and that is the main part going through the middle. Then you need 1 of these, and I am just going to duplicate, so I've got the next one down, and this one is the other way round. So the height is 1.5 if I'm not wrong. Oh no, the height, sorry, is 0.75 and the width is 4. Okay, so just before I forget what I'm doing there, I am going to duplicate so I don't forget that. We need another one. We're not sticking it there. We need it to make sure we get the right distance. That is all. And then this last one is 3 by 2. Now, if we grab them all and make sure they all go through the center, we're then going to put them up on the X and Y's because we need to use them. So that's over here. You can see I'm not right on the X. So now they're both read in 0, 0. Now that rectangle needs to be 3/4 of an inch down. So on the Y, we want it to read 75. This one is going to be right below it, So together it should say 150. If not, then you just got to make sure you get it to the right. There we go. So now it reads 150. So I know it's in the right place. This one, because it's a little bit shorter, when we get it there, we want it at the X on 0.5, because there's ½ inch each side off it, and the Y we want at 225, and then that's in the right place as well. So then we are going to take this away, do not delete it, and then we are going to grab all these and weld, and that's our outline shape. Now we need to do some score lines, and we're actually going to use it the old-fashioned way. So for the scores, this one needs to be 1.5 inches by 0.75. That needs to be on the X at 125 and the Y at 0.75. And what we're going to do there is change it to the score line. And then if we duplicate, this one down here needs to be 1.5 again. The height, this one is actually 2 inches. And for the X and Y, this is just making sure you're getting it right. It needs to be 125 and 225. So you know it's in exactly the right place. So you can see there. If I bring this one over, you can kind of see the shape that it is. So all we need to put now are the diagonals, and that's literally just 2 crosses from this corner up into that corner. Double click, path tool again, this corner up into that corner, double click, and if you've done it right, it should cross on the middle line there, which mine does. So if you've done it the same as me, yours should too. So now they've all changed to a score line. Before we group it all together, I am just going to get all this, and I am going to bring it down so the Y is 0.5, and then I'm going to get this, and I am just going to bring that up so the Y is 0, and then I want to make sure we're going to go in, because I want to make sure this line is level. I mean, you could take it a little bit in, that doesn't really matter. See, it needs to go over a little bit because I can see the outside of this line right here. Now it's gone over too far. There we go. I've just had to do it manually instead. So it's up to the Y with this one here on 0.5. So it just goes ½ an inch higher. That's all it is. And then you're going to grab that. So you've got the main one, hold shift and grab the arm and weld. And then you've got this little funky arm here. Now what you could do also, display zoom to max size, before again I group it all so that it's all as one. If you want to strengthen this arm, then the way to do that is if you duplicate. I was trying to find the easiest way to do that. You could get a shape, but it's going to be hard to get a shape that comes there and comes out there as well. But you could do that if you cover the shape and do subtract. It will just leave what you need. But an easier way is if you click again and bring up the nodes, and then just go over, hold shift, and then just go over them bottom ones again. Don't actually need that one either. And then delete. And that gives you the arm, if you want to cut that out again, just as an extra firm support. That is going to be holding the smaller circle, so you don't necessarily need it, but if you want to do it, that is how you do that. So that is essentially all the bits you're going to need. It's designing it that's going to be difficult. Another thing I want to go through quickly is, tell you what I'll do. So this is my spare one, so I'll use that one. Before I forgot, I need to group that and put that over there with that and that. Okay, so these are the ones of my tester. Now, a lot of these on the inside, you're going to be putting letters around this particular piece. If you want to do that on the scan and cut before you cut it out, so what I'm trying to say is you can, so say if we had typical happy birthday, we want it to fit around that circle. So let's change that to the same size as that, which is 5. So now we're down here and we want to convert the text into the shape that we've chosen. We do want it on the top, but we want to move it, and I'm using this cross here to move it round. And you can see it now fits on the top. So when you're opening the card, that will spin round. You can do it so that birthday is on the bottom. But let's just do it like this for now. So then we like that as it is. So we convert the shape. And there we go. And then what you could do is just bring it in a little bit so that each one is just tipping the circle. Hold shift and grab the circle and weld. There you go. So that's a job already done. The only thing with that is that you couldn't use this as one of your mats, so you'd have to do like extra cutting out for that. Because at the moment, before this was on there, your mat, trying to find them now, your mat is going to be like that on the front of the card and the back of the card. With these we're using inside. So if you wanted to add in the happy birthday onto the circle, then you have to do an extra piece of card. But it would be an easier way of doing it instead of having to cut it all out by alphabet, if that's what you wanted to do. And then you could put your own personal message and whatever. So that's how that is done. So now let's go and make a card, and I will see you over at the craft table. Remember, as always, the file will be available to download free from my Facebook group page. I'll leave that in the file in case any of you want to use it as well. Okay, let's go and craft. Okay, so I'm over at the craft table. There's a lot to explain, so let's just get going. So this piece of white card has come out of there like that, and then I've covered it in yellow for later on, you'll see. So these are the two card parts, and it's literally sticking that to that. So if we do that, I can leave that to dry while we carry on with this, and I explain everything about that. Just want to make sure I'm going over everything properly with you. Come on, just... Sometimes my hands can't squeeze the bottle. There we go. Burnish it well. There we go. So now that's done, I'm just going to put it to the side so that I can explain everything here. So like I said, you want 2 of these.
and you'll see I've lined them up. I've done 2 of these like this. But what you would normally do, this is what I was explaining about this. So I've done with the letters cut out so that I could show you it. So normally it's this piece you're using, which would be this bit, but then it would have cut the happy birthday out of this, and we use all 3 parts of this, so we couldn't do that. I had to cut it separately out. But then what I'm going to do is just cover over the top on both sides. You don't need to do both sides, just saying. So I've also done the same with the little one, and I've done a white card with friend on, and what I've done here is what I'm going to do here, but I'm going to show you how I've done it. So I have used, there you go, embossing powder, and I used indigo blue Glam Rock Gold. It's actually come out really lovely. It's difficult to see. There you go, look. And then I have covered the top, so you can see any mess that I made underneath, which, you know, we all make a mess. I've covered it over. I do want to cover the back, but I want to do it later on. So no, that's me have a little circle I don't need. Oh, there it is. Look. So I've got the back, and I will cover that up, but after I've attached it to the arm, so I'm hiding the mechanism. So there's that. So before we stick all the bits together, I'll show you how simply I got this result. So I've just cut it out on white card. I've got this lovely paper that I'm using, so all I'm going to do that'll do, just a little bag, and all I'm going to do is just pat over the whole of Happy Birthday. Doesn't matter if it gets a little bit here, because I can cover it over afterwards with the paper. So for now we're just going to concentrate on actually doing the Happy Birthday. So you can see it's pretty messy. I'm just going to go over it all again. But I've got to be honest, with the friend I had to do twice. So I'm just going to put my heat gun on. Right, before I do it again, I just want to show you the difference between doing it once and doing it twice. Let's see if I can get it in the light. So there's once, and then the friend. Oh, you don't want to come into the light, do you? There we go. So there's the difference. It's a lot smoother doing it twice. So that's why I wanted to do it again. So I am just going to, I don't know if this is a good idea to, and I'm just going to go over it again. If it's still hot, sometimes you can just pour the powder straight back on, but I'm just going to and I can see there that I didn't get the end of the Y last time, so I'll concentrate a bit better on that. Okay. And there we go. I'm hoping you can see there that it's a lot smoother now. And this mess is not going to matter. So let me just get this out the way. And then we're going to do this, but to do that, because if you have a specific pattern like mine, what you want to do is put this paper down first. So we're going to glue this down, making sure you've got even spaces all the way around here. Okay, so the reason that I've done that is because the pattern needs to fit to the front. So now what we need to do is make sure, tell you what, if we just work solely on this first, we're going to slot this back in and make sure it's in the right place. And then I think if we just use some low-tack tape, and we'll just stick it down in the one place. I don't want to stick it too much. Now this happy birthday, when it's opening, I want it to be here so it opens that way. Nope, that is going to open that way, so I need it about there. Okay. So it's stuck perfectly. There we go. So put the picture back in the right place. So that we can put the back on, and that will also be in the right place. I've got to be honest, that's the most difficult part about it. I know this one doesn't matter so much because it's the back, but still. That least that one's stuck together now. So the next thing to do is the mechanism. So there's your mechanism, and what you want, first of all, these two arms are just to reinforce this bit. So if you don't feel like you need to do that, don't worry about it. But first thing we need to do is stick them down so that them two, it just means it's a firmer backing that way. Just want to make sure I'm doing this the right way round. Okay, so you've got it like this. You've done all your score points, okay? There, 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 and the diagonals, and this. So this is valley. Them two should be mountain. The rest are mountain. It's just this one here that's valley, and then you're going to do your two diagonals. So the first thing you're going to do now, if you want to be spot on, it's best to measure the center. Because what we need to do, okay, let me get a ruler and measure it properly. So this is obviously 7 inches. Let's do it this way round. To get this in the middle, it needs to be between the 3 and 4 and 1/4 inch either side. That's bang in the middle. And then all we're going to do is glue that tab while it's there. Make sure you got it in the right spot. You don't want it going over the score line. It looks like I've gone just a tad over with mine. There we go. And you're just going to stick it down like that. Okay, so this is the tricky bit. You want this to go through I want it like that, don't I? Yeah. So the back is facing up this way. Put it in its right place, so match it up to its patterns, and then this one you're going to stick onto there. Have a look and see how much of it you're sticking on. Make sure you've got it just about right. So let's just add a little bit of glue there. I think about that much will do it. Oh, I think I've got it spot on. Yeah. So that that's attached. Okay, and now this is where I've done the extra arm, but I honestly don't know if I'm going to need it, because what I'm going to do is it needs to be attached to the back, but you're going to have to make sure So this one is going to come from here. You need to make sure you're not going over the score, you're not going over the top of the card. And then you can glue that to there. So you've got to avoid the score, make sure that's gonna, you don't want it getting caught. So I'm not going to put the extra bit on. If you feel like you want to, now's, you know, the time to do it before you glue it down. And what I'm going to do is glue there. Just making sure I've got it straight. There we go. It doesn't really matter if it goes over this circle because that hole is being covered up. But then you need the other piece of your backing. That's if you want to cover up all the markings. There we go. Okay. So this one you're not gluing down, just this one. I've just moved it. Make sure if you move it that it's okay again when you come back. So now all you're going to do is glue this tab and shut the card. Somehow still got that embossing powder everywhere. And that is what the front of your card should look like. So you've got this nice big arrow here. So then this is where this one comes in. This is going to be your front piece, like that. And all you're going to do is stick it to this. Let's, just before we do that, we'll make sure it's all turning right. So, like that. There you go. See? Let me see if I can get it the right way round. There we go. So the inside is all moving smoothly. So then all it takes is adding that piece to that and then adding your whatever you're using. Remember when you're putting glue on here, it doesn't go all the way up to the end because there's still a gap, look. So don't do glue all the way to the end. Right. Okay, so just so you know, the papers I've used are from a Sheena book. And this is from an apple blossom pad that I had. Then what I've done here, I just got some very simple things. So I've got a hummingbird, which I got, it's is it Crafter's Companion? Yeah, Crafter's Companion. So it's a stamp and die. And I just stamped it in a vintage sepia and just onto some pattern paper, and I want to put that just there like it's coming on. And then these are the Unico picked posies. So it's just a pop of colour in the centre of the card, and then when you open it, it comes out like that. Now you can always add a lot more. You can add stuff to this circle or the inside of this circle, but that's the basics of the card, which I think is a great little card that's fairly straightforward. There's a few difficult bits, but the majority of it is straightforward. And obviously you could also add a sentiment on the outside as well if you wanted. I just thought with the sentiment inside, we don't really need it, but it might need just that extra little something, and maybe a gem on the flower. So that's a man style card. This one is the Mater Surprise Papers. I can't remember where the die was from, but it's just a football die. I've done in the colours of my son's team, because I will be putting Happy Birthday and Son on this one. I might just do it in white, but I didn't think about doing it on the scan and cut before I cut them out, so I'll have to use my alphabets for this one, but still it's the same thing. So you can see you can do it for men as well. It is a great style card. It looks amazing, and it's not that much work, to tell you the truth. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.